Hello, everyone.
Hi,
My name is M9,
and I'm Nixie, and this
and this is Out of Character. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I have bad news. Nixie is out sick, but she is with us in the chat. And Nixie, if at any time you are feeling up to chatting, just send me a message and you can jump on the call and we'll get going. So for today's episode 3 of Out of Character, I have my guest, and what I'm assuming is going to be about an hour of us arguing about who broke each other's heart in RP. And spoiler alert, it was her. Lady Lady Werewolf is with me on today's show. Hi, Lady.
Hi.
The title says episode 2. It does. I updated that. Oh no, I did not.
It definitely says episode 2.
I updated the name. Thank you, P-Fun. So, Lady, we're just gonna Werewolf. Wait, excuse me, why were you not following me before? We've known each other for how long? Lady, we met in RP as everyone that's been on the show so far. And don't I unfollowed and refollowed. Okay. And we had some very, very dramatic roleplay between us. But it was fun, it was stressful, it was exhausting, but it was good storytelling. So, Lady, welcome to the show, and how are you feeling? Are you okay? Like, I know so many people that are sick.
I'm actually good. Just been super busy between roleplay, kids in band, and doing a lot of modding in between somewhere.
Yeah, and actually, that was one of the reasons that we wanted to have Lady on, because not only is she a role player and we met in role playing, but she is a modder. And for the first time on the show, we wanted to talk to somebody that is in the modding scene and kind of ask a couple of questions, because a lot of us are demanding of modders, but we don't really understand what goes on the other side, right? So I think it's going to be cool to be able to talk a bit more about the modding side of things. So, Lady, just to start off for everyone, what do you remember about us meeting?
Well, okay, so if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the first time that we actually met, we were both in the Vale, and Zelgos was King of the Vale.
That is true. And again, rest in peace, Zalgos. But yeah, we were in the Vale for Westeros RP.
That was before Newt even made the map, I think.
That's correct, yeah. That was before there was a Westeros map. So that had to be, I don't know, what, 3-4 years ago?
I couldn't tell you, honestly.
Don't get on that tangent with her. Oh no, we're going to. We're going to. We want to talk to somebody that just wants to get their frustrations out about being a modder. Like, we want to understand a bit better. So yeah, so we met back in the Vale. And we didn't really RP a whole lot.
No, I don't think we did.
But yeah, then we both rode into the north with Zelgos also, and that's when we started role playing, and your husband Werewolf was also there, and we had a really good group that season in our kingdom. There was a lot of cool people.
Yeah, like Marnie, Newt was there.
Yeah.
And, all those lovely people.
Yeah, and funny enough, I went to message Marnie the other day to ask her to be on the show, and I was looking through some of our messages, and uh and it was back from that season, um and how crazy things were. Bryce Moore only um how crazy things were that season, and I think like the following season when we were all going to like come back, it was really interesting. Nobody really knew what was going on or who was going to stay or who was going to come back. um but obviously between seasons our characters um were going through some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you want to start at the beginning, it was the most awkward thing because you had all the girls chasing you,
Mm-hmm.
and then my character was like, it's all right.
Yeah, and it was funny because there were a couple of women upset in character that I was like paying no attention to them, and then the one that was like playing indifferent was the one that was, she called you a six. the one the one that was indifferent was like the one that got his attention. And that was actually, that was fun. And I remember
Didn't
like,
you like force her to tell you? If I
yeah.
remember correctly.
Yeah, like after we hung out and spoke a couple of times, and after I kidnapped your character several times because you had to be dragged out of your barn. Um, then at that point was like, I think we went up to like mountaintop or something like that, and we talked about it, and I was like we're not leaving here until we talk about this.
What was it? It was on the island, and it was
On the island,
between where Winterfell sat and where River Run sat at
right?
the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was above a little bitty waterfall. Don't ask me how I remember all these details. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was a good spot to talk because we knew that nobody was gonna go like across there, or there wasn't gonna be like a fucking army of bears marching or anything like
Listen,
that.
and that was before the whisper function was implemented, okay?
Right.
Whisper was a godsend when once they put that in.
Yeah, but just to get it out of our systems and just so that everyone knows, Lady ended up breaking my heart.
Yeah.
And it was like this whole, I don't even know if it was like a love triangle thing. It was just a very complicated mess of emotions and people, and he put her through a lot as well though. And it was it was drama at its finest. It was very, very Game of Thronesy. So both of us broke your hearts. So werewolf thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because well, what started it was his death that season.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And then
his character died, and then she wanted to go home to Ironrath, and he was like, "You should stay here." Just became an ordeal.
So they both went their own way. It's a mistake.
I think a lot of that was because I wasn't planning on bringing her back.
Yeah, we weren't sure what we were going to be doing. Yeah.
And then at the last minute, I was like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But by then, we'd already had the RP written out and was like, fuck, this is going to be bad.
Yep. So you heard it here, guys. It was her fault.
Wow.
But then they ended up kind of together beyond the wall, right? We agreed.
Yeah.
Because a lot of crazy shit happened with like the wildlings and everything, and Alden got like sentenced to the wall by the Queen of the North. And he was like, "No, I'm not gonna serve the wall. I mean, fuck that. Like, my name is all that I have, and you're gonna take that from me?" And he's like, I'm going beyond the wall and living the rest of my days." And then she ended up following. which was yeah, it was interesting. Good RP. So
It was a good story.
are you currently role playing?
I'm actually logged in, laying in a bed in my room.
AFK on the podcast.
Totally.
So you're on WRP. Where are you rolled into? The north, right? You said.
I'm in the north, but instead of being in like the main kingdom, I am in the Banner, which is White Harbor.
Ah, okay. So how has it been?
It's been good. I really enjoy being, obviously I've been role playing with Marnie for ever since, the last time we played, and then when she decided to come back, we all kind of tagged along with her, those of us that, wanted to play. And I think Cola and Marth and Back to Real and all of them are in White Harbor.
Oh, nice.
So,
man, I haven't
and we
played
have
with
Savvy.
Back in so long.
And Savvy's playing a kid, because Savvy's a wonderful kid.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a joy, because we get to terrorize Cola, because we're all kind of his wards. Because
Nice.
the Riswell girls got sent to White Harbor when their mother died to, what was it? Something about their father wanting a steed, as one would put it, and could only produce mares.
Wow. Interesting. So you're a breeder.
No, I am not a breeder.
You're not.
It's a horse-only season.
Yeah, right.
So there's nothing. The only thing that's even intrigued me a little bit to breed is that Circa is putting in foxes that are the cutest things I've ever seen.
Oh, I saw images on the Discord.
And I'm like, I want them. And I have a feeling they're not going to be a farmer thing. So if
Right.
I want to breed them, I will have to get a token to breed them. So here we are.
Well, so let's talk about your modding efforts a little bit. Because I'm super intrigued. Like back when we started RPing, you weren't modding.
Mm-mm.
So what made you decide to start modding? Was it Marnie?
A combined effort between Newt and Marnie, I think.
Yeah.
Because it started when, after the Winterfell season, when I came back to start playing again, we were in Dragonstone. Well, it started out Dragonstone, then moved to King's Landing gradually, as it usually does.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want things, I really want, like, statues. I want placeable books. Like, don't get me wrong, Stormy had wonderful placeable books. But I'm like, Maester Towers are gonna have literal thousands of these everywhere.
Yeah.
And then, like, I mean, we'd all used Eco for ages. Not that there's anything wrong with Eco, but I guess for the kind of, like, feeling that Game of Thrones gives you, Eco doesn't quite work.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because it wasn't really catered to the theme.
Mm-hmm.
And
then I started with the decor, and thus here we are.
yeah. So right now, what is it that you have available as mods?
So I have the RP decor mod, and then I have my food and farming mod, which was the one that actually got sponsored through ARC or through Wildcard.
Yeah.
Nice. And that's it at the moment. And so I think until I've kind of caught up on everything, I probably won't do anything else.
Yeah. So that's something else that I wanted to talk about. Is like that's really cool. A while back, Wildcard started like sponsoring modders as a way of, getting more content for their game without them making it themselves. And Lady here, very we're very proud of her. She was sponsored, and so was Marnie, right?
Yeah, Marnie's been sponsored twice.
Yeah. So tell us, like, what exactly does that entail? Like, once you are, once you're sponsored by Wildcard, which is the developers of Arc, um, is there requirements? Is there certain expectations? What happens at that point? And what other than like being paid to do it do you get out of it?
Well, you obviously get the publicity for it because
Mm-hmm.
that's always great.
Yeah.
Then most of it is you get a lot of like help from anybody else who is sponsored at the time, which I mean, technically you could probably get that anyway.
Right.
But like you get to talk with the people who like handle the mod development stuff, which is really neat. So like I've talked to, oh geez, I don't even remember his name now. Like I've seen Zen talking in chat before. Zen Rose is the one who did a lot of like the learning how to mod stuff.
Gotcha.
I know that when you put in to be sponsored, you have kind of like this layout that you do of things that you're planning to put in while you're sponsored for like the next however many months.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you have kind of like a timeline. I don't know that it's really a timeline, but it's
So you're
like
pretty much
a guideline.
setting up your own expectations in your presentation of sorts,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's cool. And did you find, like, while you were doing this, did you ever find yourself thinking that you maybe bit off more than you could chew, or that like whatever you were doing kind of lost like its spark because now you had to do it? You know, was there first of all, is there an obligation once you are sponsored?
I don't remember there being like a said obligation. I know that there's an expectation to have regular updates while you're working on it.
Mhm.
But there was never anything necessarily like written out or set in stone that I remember.
Right.
But it's been a couple of months now since I was sponsored, so I couldn't, it's kind of hit or miss on my memory for that.
And is it like a predetermined amount of time, or depending on like the mods or whatever you're working on, it could continue? What is a sponsorship terms?
I
Like?
think it just depends. Like when they come to you, they will set out like how long they choose to sponsor it for. And then, it just depends.
Okay. And so, like, when you first got into it, how did you get into it? You just started looking up tutorials. You started hanging out with friends that you already had that did modding, such as Marnie or Newt. How did you get into it? Did you find there being like a big learning curve when it came to the dev kit? Because like I downloaded it once just to see what it was, and it was a nightmare. So how was it? How was that learning curve for you?
Well, to be honest, when I first installed it, I was still on the old computer that did not have nearly enough space for all the things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so I had already started struggling with just loading up the dev kit and all of that. And then, of course, I have the good friend Coil that she is, and she literally went out and got me an SSD and sent it to me.
That's awesome.
Just for me to be able to load up Arc and the dev kit without it being just like ages.
Well,
now I will
because,
say
like,
there
a
is
lot of
a
people
bit of
don't-
a learning curve.
Oh, I'm sure there is, and a lot of people don't know. But like, you pretty much have this big ass game installed on your computer twice. When you're messing with a dev kit, right?
Mhm.
So it's a lot, especially like Arc is a big game with all of its content, and if you're going to be modding or using different resources from the game, you got to have all the DLCs and shit along with it as well, right?
Well, yeah, the DLCs come with the dev kit, so that
Right.
they get installed. You don't have an option to not install them.
Gotcha.
They are just there.
Yeah, so
Unless
you
there
can
is a way
literally
to do
fill
it
up
that I don't know about.
an SSD drive with with just like the mod kit and the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
So go back up. What were you saying? The learning curve. Yeah, how was that?
So there's a handful of videos. There are considerably more videos about making weapons and making maps than there are about anything else.
I see.
And that has been my biggest struggle.
And these aren't videos by Wildcard, right?
Right. Like, a lot of these videos are just people who, just decided to upload it just to help people. Like, just random resources, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Then there's the whole, like, Arc modding community, which is easy to get answers out of if you know what they're talking about. Unfortunately, I am not one of those people who quite understands what they're talking about most of the time. I think I've pretty much learned when it comes to decor, most things, I think the biggest struggle I have is with the visual coding. And it's basically just graphing. It's basically people who do coding for a living would understand it. I do not do coding for a living, nor do I understand it. So that's been its own struggle in upon itself.
Yeah, so it's like so the way the dev kit is set up, you're saying visual coding. It's basically like a series of like drop downs and things that you can choose to make shit work, right? So you're not actually, and the reason that I know this is because like when I was working on my own game, I was doing it with like a visual coding type of thing. Even though I try to learn coding myself and writing the language, but when it's visual, it's just easier and quicker to kind of go through things. So that's kind of the thing, right? Like you're not just making certain things that are there for like visuals or whatever. There's certain things that you're making that are like functional for in-game things, and you have to make that work. So like how often do you find yourself running into like complications or just like something not working the way that you want it to work, and what do you do at that point?
You mean like every day?
Yeah.
There's usually, at some point, there is a time at which I stare at it long enough that I tend to attempt to graph it myself, and then I end up messaging somebody who knows how to do it, and I'm like, please help me.
Yeah. Well, because like I'm friends with Lilith, that you might know. She used to go as Dragon before. That she has the mod as well. But there's a couple of them that work on that together, and they kind of split up different responsibilities or tasks. And we'll have her on the show at some point as well. But you're pretty much just doing you and getting help whenever you need it.
Yeah, pretty much. Luckily, with decor, there's not a whole lot that I necessarily need help with. I'm just now starting to branch off into adding animations to the decor that you can turn on and turn off.
Yeah.
Things that make it seem that, you're actually using what's in front of you.
Yeah, that's really cool. I remember the reason that I wanted to install the mod kit and try doing something myself was because there was something that I wanted to see in game that there wasn't, and for me was strictly RP reasons to have bandages that you could see that you didn't have to paint on as we did in RP, so I was like, I would like to make something that is kind of like a like a skin or something for your outfit that look like bandages wrapped around your arms, wrapped around your waist or your shoulder or your neck or your head, you know? And that's what I wanted to do. And then I dove into the dev kit and I started playing around and I'm like, nah, fuck it. I don't need it that bad.
The thing with what you're talking about, and it's kind of what's leaned me away from, because when I originally started fucking with the dev kit, it was a lot of, maybe I want to make clothes. Maybe
Mhm.
this is a thing I can do. And then I realized that I have to weight paint.
Right.
And that is much harder than it sounds.
Yeah, and that's something that Lilith does with her team and stuff. It's yeah.
It's yeah.
It's yeah.
That's what it is. That's it.
But it's cool though. It's cool. And if we're being honest, mods and modders like you have kept Ark alive this long.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, yeah, like Ark and Wildcard, they love to drop DLCs every couple of months, even though they're broken as hell. But they love to drop more content and more animals and more maps and whatever. But in the reality of it all, it's the modders that have kept it alive for so long. And when you think about like us role playing or all these different servers that pop up, whether they're like high fantasy or like WRP or anything like that, the first thing you look at when you're thinking about joining these servers is what's the mod list like. And so like that already tells you how important like what you do and like what your peers do is for not just this game, for other games too that we play.
Yeah, I'll say I've heard well, how many mods are in the mod list? More times than I'd like to admit. And it's true.
Yeah,
It's gotten so bad that me and Marnie, when we look at a mod list, are like, okay, are any of our mods here? Because she does not enjoy playing without my decor mod, and I can't function without the hair mod.
well, let's be honest.
Gotten
It's
to
like
that point.
there's a reason why you and her made those mods, right? Like it was something that was missing out of the game and you have introduced it. So like playing without it is like it's doing yourself a disfavor. The like when you think about Marnie's, like all the animals, I've actually talked to like random people that don't know Marnie but know mods, and I will say, yeah, I mean, I started role playing. I was actually role playing with Marnie, and they're like, Marnie from like the mods, and it's like yeah, like everybody knows like Marnie's mods. I've looked up like your name or like ladies like cooking and stuff like that, and there's like tutorials and shit on YouTube, or like reviews and stuff, and that's fucking awesome.
It's a really nice feeling too when you find them and you're not expecting them.
Yeah, I can
I
imagine.
think that's been like the kicker for me, is even like going onto a server and they have no idea who we are, and then we say something and they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Because like we played with a friend who legit thought Marnie was a corporation of people, and I laughed so hard.
I've definitely name dropped Lady and Marnie before. And then I'm like, yeah, and I did RRP with Lady and she broke my heart. And like,
Oh
so
my god.
people have to know the woman behind the mods, Marnie Inc. It's like, yeah,
Marnie
she's a good
Incorporated.
modder and stuff like that, but there's a reason why she's called Heartbreaker Lady in my Discord.
He has not let me live it down yet. One day it'll disappear.
I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so there's that side, right? There's the side of people appreciating your mods and all of the videos talking about, she breaks my heart every day. And Um, and that feeling, right? But then
Mhm.
we obviously have to talk about the other side, right? And it's the people that nothing is ever good enough. Like, this wasn't even part of the game, and somehow you think you're entitled to something. Like,
I think
that,
I've just become immune to it. I'm just like,
have you?
I'm sorry. I will, try to fix whatever you think is wrong.
Because
If it is something I can fix.
you don't have like a Discord dedicated to your mod, right?
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
I do.
And so like, I'm guessing you have like people, right, that like are running servers or just like playing single player or whatever, that come in there and bitch about random shit.
Honestly, they don't really complain too much.
No?
I think the biggest complaint I've had recently is that a lot of people want to see like the nutrition values on the food that's in the cooking mod. And the fish bait, dear Lord have mercy, the fish bait. But
What?
I have decided that I'm going to pull an Eddie, as Eddie did with RPE. I'm not releasing the nutrition values on the food. So I want people to experiment. I want them to figure it out, I don't want it to just be, oh, here it is, and it'll turn into the whole fiber situation again. That was the whole reason I made it. Is I was sick of fiber and muffins and recipes. Everything looks the same.
Right. But
It's just-
there's a certain thing that comes with survival games that you have to figure shit out. But people are so spoiled by certain mods or different ways of doing things, is that like it makes, yes, sometimes you want the game to turn into something else, right? Like right now I'm playing GTA on like a zombie apocalypse server, right? Like it doesn't even feel like GTA 5. And sometimes those mods help you do that. But then it's like, just just be okay with what you get. Like, it doesn't all have to be spoon-fed to you.
I mean, yeah, but like sometimes I can understand. A lot of times I will say, there's a lot of times where we've had to, I know even like looking through other discords for mods, people will send you to the FAQ a lot of times just because the answer's there. You just have to look for it.
Right.
But it's not too bad. Like, I don't usually mind it too much. I've not had any. I think the fish bait has been the kicker for me. Everybody wants to know where the fish bait is.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's always something. Like, I take a look at other Discord servers that I'm on for different mods. Let's check the pins, yeah, right? For different mods and or different software, and you have the people that are like impatient, but then you get all of the ones that are like super grateful for you even answering their questions, or
Oh yeah.
which is also nice. Like, it's not all bad. But like like on Lulu's, because that is apparel and clothing, there's people that will ask her about other mods. Like, it's like, I don't know, that's not my mod.
That's not my territory.
But yeah, I think the whole thing with like modding is so interesting because and it's become such a crucial thing in our gaming world. You can almost not have a game and it be successful without mod support nowadays. Because people want to turn your game into something else, or people want to put stuff that they want to see into your game. Whether that, that's Ark, we've seen it on Conan, GTA, Red Dead, like, it's all of these different games that people like will just put the game down if there isn't more. And I think that's something that's really cool about like the whole modding community.
I mean, take for instance, like people even still now, they're like, Ark is, 100% optimized game. Like, but I'm like, logistically, how many hours a day are you on this game that you're complaining about? Like, I
Mhm.
don't understand why you're complaining.
I mean, you'll have these people that are thousands of hours into a game, and they'll be like, "This game sucks," and
Let
it's
me
like,
just let me just look at my hours on the game.
and
at
it's
the
like, okay, look, I understand the game's not perfect, right? But
Nothing's gonna be perfect.
when I bought Ark, I bought it for like $15. Anything I can invest $15 and get 2,000 plus hours out of it, I got my money's worth. Like,
You
if
say
you can
2,000. I'm over here with like
Yeah, no, we're-
11,853.
yeah, I'm like on the baby side of the numbers.
Yeesh.
But like still, like the point remains where it's like you go to like a movie, right? The movie lasts 2.5 hours tops. You paid $20 for that movie. You have a video game that you bought for $20 and you've gotten 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 hours out of it, and you still want to complain.
I don't even know, like, at this point you consider it playing, because it's not even the game anymore, right?
No.
Because once you go into, like, roleplay, a lot of the game itself has been stripped away.
That's true. That's very true. Like, I played Ark. I wanna say I played Ark for 150 hours tops before I started role playing, and then the rest couple of thousands were role playing. And the same thing with like GTA, or the same thing with like the only reason I don't have as many hours on Skyrim is because it's not multiplayer. And because I love doing things with other people. I love role playing. And that's just kind of the way that it is. And you're completely right. Like, by the time some games, the people that are putting thousands of hours into a game, they're actually not putting that amount of time into like the base game. It's entirely something different.
Yeah, I mean, if you count it up, so take for instance Game of Thrones, okay? If you counted up the amount of time that I spend looking at lore for Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
and then the amount of time that I spend doing the backstory, doing the face claims, because you know I can't write a backstory without a face claim, and then it just building that character.
You put a lot more effort than I do when it comes to that. Most of the time, I'm like, where am I from? The North? All right, cool. Pick a name from the North. Karstark. Cool. I'm a bard. Cool. That's it. The end.
See, well, you know how I usually pick my house? Have I ever told you that?
No.
I look at the shields and which one ever I like the most.
God.
That is how I pick a house.
The shield. I
See,
didn't
Rogue
even
knows
know what the hell the Karstark sigil was until after I started playing Alden Karstark. And then I photoshopped those two sigils for us together.
I still have that, by the way.
Yeah, you don't have the one that Alden threw paint on.
No, I don't have that one.
Because he was raging. I think there was a time that you like came to visit him at his little turtle cabin, and he was like making sure you didn't see it.
I want to say yeah, because I don't even remember seeing it.
Yeah, he was just like, "Oh no, come this way."
we're just gonna cover that up.
Like, cause he left it up there instead of taking the painting down. It was up there with red paint thrown over it.
It's awful.
Yeah. That's what happens when, you break somebody's heart. And then you turn them into a whore.
Uh-huh. Yeah?
Yeah, because it was your fault.
That's the one who had the son. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it anymore, do you?
So, moving on. So it was funny because, like, that I remember when jumping right into the thick of it. Yeah, I told you guys that we were just gonna be arguing about it for like an hour. We're like looping
This
right back
happens
into
every
it
time. Every time we talk, this is
every
what
time.
happens.
So the thing was that, like what she said earlier, she had decided that she was gonna like roll out, right? So for me to have like more interesting RP, I was like, oh, what if Alden had a son that he didn't know about? And it was like, all right, that's gonna be my RP for season 2. And then Lady's like, oh no, by the way, I'm coming back. And I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna get interesting.
It was real awkward.
It was so awkward, and it was from like it was with like a bastard from High Garden.
Yeah,
I
because
remember
it was with the mother of that child ended up becoming a septon, which made it even more awkward.
it was so bad. And I remember like there was this like this kind of heated moment where Newt as the queen said to her, you know why flowers don't come up north? Because they die. And everybody was like, oh shit.
Oh, it was great.
It's like they can't survive the cold. And I was like, oh my god, that was such a good line. But also, that's my baby mama.
You know what's even worse is that I think your kid liked me more than you.
Oh no, that's definitely true. That is definitely
and funny
true.
story is I'm actually playing with that character. Well, not with that character, but with
Red?
No, it was Jazz, wasn't it?
No, yes it was, sorry.
So he's playing a Stark now.
Oh, cool.
So that's a joy.
Yeah.
Courting my sister. That's also fun.
Yeah. Sometimes I definitely miss it, but then other times I'm like, I'm good.
It's actually not been bad.
I just it's okay. Like the last time that I played that I was, King Aaron, I had a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun bringing us like a true Aaron to the mix, right? Like like being standoffish and being kind of like up in his own world. And we had so much fun, and our Inner Kingdom RP was amazing. Like people, we legit thought, Josh. I jokingly told Josh, I was like, he was trying to convince me to come in. I was like, all right, if you make me King of the Vale, I'll join. And he's like, done. And I was like, I was kidding.
Too late now.
And he's like, no, done. Get at least 10 people. And I was like, I was joking. And then I started like pulling in favors and asking everybody, you and Rogue and everyone, and everybody's like, fuck yeah. Like Rogue came out of retirement. And it was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And we legitly thought we were gonna have about 10 people in our kingdom, and we ended up maxing out the first season and having a really good pop our second season still. I was like, this is fucking insane. I did not see this happening. But people loved being part of the Vale.
I will say, I remember people complaining, oh, we never see the Aarons. You don't see the Aarons because they don't come off the mountain.
I know,
This is the RP of being an Aaron. They don't come down.
Exactly. And so I loved that moment when Josh in the community meeting, he was like, that's because he's playing an Aaron as an Aaron should be.
Like, what are you complaining about? I don't understand.
And that community meeting, yeah. And he's like, I don't understand what you guys are complaining. They're playing people from the Vale perfectly, like the entire group. So that was and just the other day actually, and I think Josh was kind of like fishing for me to come back to RP, but like Josh was like,
more bards.
He was like, M9. When you were King of the Vale, man, you did such a good job. Like I was so proud of you, and I was like, I'm not RP.
Come on, come RP with us. We are lovely people.
Yeah,
I'm not even in the Vale. I don't even know what I'm on about. I'm not even in the Vale.
No, wait. No, I don't think I would go to the Vale, but I don't know. If I did, I would have to be like the fucking simplest like farmer in the world or something. Like I don't want to even know about leadership at the moment.
Well, that's kind of like what we ended up doing. like I know Marnie, we had talked about it, and then I was like, do we really want this stress? And then we decided we didn't. So we're just, we're just us in a banner keep.
Yeah,
with,
and you know what, I can't say that, like, yeah, it was stressful at times, right? Like when it was like the leadership channel and all that stuff, and like going back and forth with people, it was a little stressful, and like making sure that we did all the events and stuff. But I have to be honest, like our group, like our entire kingdom is what I mean by this, is like we were so in sync. We had such a good group. I think there were maybe one or two like people that were like a little iffy, but it was easy to like role play and to get along and to do events. Like we were all having fun, and we were also into like our internal RP, that I feel like it could have been worse. If I'm being honest, like we were one of the only few kingdoms that survived that first season and went on to the second season.
Yeah.
While other kingdoms went through different leaders, got like shut down and rebuilt and all that stuff, and the Vale was just sitting high on their mountain.
We're like, hi, how's it going down there?
Hi, you guys doing all right? Oh, you got new leaders. Oh, okay, no, we're doing fine.
we're good. See you later.
Miss it. Nah, man, I had a great time. You guys were awesome.
I will say there's
could've
never
done
been
everything
another season that I don't think there will ever be another North quite the way that Zell and Newt had it. I've just accepted that into reality. Like, don't get me wrong, Toki does a good job, but it's just not the same.
I agree, and I don't exactly blame leadership like Toki or what. Like, it was just the same thing that we were talking about just now. Like, our group in the Vale, we clicked so well, and that's what happened that 1 or 2 seasons in the North. It was like we just had such an amazing group of like our peers, right? Like our peers first, PvP later. Because Zelgos, Newt, Marnie, nobody, we weren't like we weren't even great at PvP. Like if you remember, like Josh came in and started like training us as like what did he roll in as? Uncle
he brought in a Mormont.
Uncle Mormont, yeah.
Literally, so he had taken over Casterly Rock. They had come over on Snow Leopards when Marnie first released them. And literally wiped the floor with us on our base.
Yeah, we got fucking owned. But the thing, and the one thing that that like Josh really respected is like, yeah, we weren't good at like the PvP, but our RP like didn't matter. Like we were true to the North. We even if we lost fights, we still were Northerners. Like and we backed up what we said. And Zelgos was just such an amazing King Stark. Like I don't think, other than like Josh himself, and even not Josh, if I'm even being honest, like Zelgos just kind of just had it, you know, just
he embodied a Stark, to be brutally honest. That was just Zell in his entirety.
His speeches, yes. And then my family RP with Zelgos was some of the most amazing RP in the world.
Oh yeah.
I remember like when he first sent me to the wall, that you can kind of not for like when they sentenced me to the wall, like on the mission. Do you remember like my mission to the wall?
Wasn't that when you went to Italy or what?
Yeah, I was on vacation. I went to France. And or Greece. I don't remember which one. But he like he was kind of like in tears, and he was like, "I'm sorry, you're like my blood." And I was like, "Fuck, that's the kind of RP that like I feel is kind of missing from Arc nowadays." But yeah, man, I will forever remember Zelgos as my cousin, whether it was a Stark or whether we were cousin in GTA. We always treated each other like family, and it was so good. But Don't remind me. I felt so bad dying because he had me. I know. That's the
I,
thing.
I
Like,
want you all to know that that is on YouTube. There is a video of the entire scene, and I'm just like, I can't watch it.
oh fuck.
It's painful to watch.
Yeah. No, I don't know. There was some RP that especially when he was like scorning me, like just like talking to me like, what the fuck, your family, like you're you're more than a car Stark, you're like a Stark. And it's like I was like, oh my god. So
Oh yeah, do
please
you
take it
remember
easy
when
on
he
me.
found out about the kid? Because
Yeah, oh my
I
god.
recall that being a very stressful situation.
Oh my god, yes.
Because I remember Newt being like, "You're gonna come sit with me," and I was like, "Oh no, oh no, what's about
Fuck.
to happen?"
Yeah, that was something. And he was like, what?
Just what did you do?
I was like, I had no idea. And then like when they found out like the entire truth that like Alden like lied about his name and he was with this woman for a while, and then he left, or like, you know, she broke up with him because she found out he was a car Stark. And he was like, what, are you ashamed of your family? And I was like, so Ghost, don't do this to me, man. Don't do
It was
this.
painful.
It was yeah, it was, god, man, I fucking missed that guy. Oh shit, I dropped my webcam. I missed
Smooth.
that man. But he was awesome. He was great. So tell me something to switch gears so that we don't like start crying on this podcast.
Yeah, let's not.
Do you have any, you said you were thinking about like calming down with like the mods and stuff like that. Can I cry? Yeah, you can cry, Chris. But like, do you have anything else in like planned, or that you want to get into when it comes to like modding? Or have you thought about like modding for Conan or a different game?
Probably not any other games, just because, well, I do love Conan to some extent for, you know, how pretty things can be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't enjoy the game itself.
Right.
It's very pretty. I can do a lot of pretty things with it, decor-wise, but there's nothing that keeps me there. If that makes sense. You know me, I have a weird animal addiction that, you know, that's kind of my go-to. If, you know, I'm happy if I'm breeding animals. That keeps me usually pretty preoccupied.
Yeah, I get it for sure though. I get it. But like, I think the same goes for me in an opposite way, which is, I never play games to play the games. I use them as mediums for role playing. Like, I'm still horrible at Ark. I'm still horrible at Conan, and I've been playing them forever. The only reason I play them is just to RP though. So like, you ask me about like your scientific calculations for breeding, and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Just put two animals together. One will either look like the mom or the dad. Like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Me and my negative mutations,
yeah,
giving me more mutations, and then having some ungodly, unbeastly bears that just rip people apart.
Yeah, yep. But I think what about your anticipation for Art 2? Do you think that the dev kit is going to be friendly enough that you might be able to convert things over? What is your nervous system telling you?
I'll be honest, there are at least 5 very large factors that I want for Art 2.
Okay, what's that?
One is for triangles to not matter anymore. I am so tired of having to be careful about how many triangles are on a piece of, like, on a mesh.
Oh, like the, what the hell, vertices or is
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Because there are some really, really pretty statues that I want that I keep telling myself not to buy. Because there are just so many vertices.
Arc has to stay at like a lesser poly count, right?
Yeah. The more polys, or for instance, the more triangles, the more lag you're gonna get from
Right.
said item.
It's kind of like when you're making like avatars for like VR chat or something like that. Like they'll give you like a limit to what you have, or else it's like more loading time. But see, like what I'm excited about, and we can continue with your list right after. Like I'm excited about like the fact that Conan is almost as old as Ark is. But why is everything so much prettier in Conan? I feel like the Ark devs had a chance to like change character creation and things like that, and they just didn't, because it was like, I mean, if it works, it works. So I'm hopeful for Ark 2 that it has better visuals and better character creation. Because even today, we get WRP maxing out sometimes, right? And that game looks like shit. So it's not even really about the game itself. It's the RP that we can do in the game, with the mods and modders like you. So, if we could just get characters that look a little better,
Just a little.
I'll
Just
be
give
happy.
me a little bit of customization, please.
I will be so happy.
Now,
All
I
right.
know
So what's the
that
rest
there
of your
have been
list?
rumors about character customization, that there will be a little bit more leeway. And I'm hopeful that people can look different.
I know, right?
Because everyone looks the same.
Yeah, just different variations of the same. So what are you said 5 factors, you said?
Yeah. Please, for the love of God, can we please have cloth physics?
Oh
Please.
my god, yes.
Pretty please.
And that's like not even that unrealistic of a thing to ask for. Like, you could drop shit into like Unity nowadays and it has cloth physics.
Oh yeah.
It's like basic game engines. All right, so cloth physics. What's next?
Let's see. There were more things that I wanted, but I don't. Let's see. Perhaps a dev kit that doesn't crash every time I touch something.
Oh
That
my
would also
God.
be fantastic.
Well, it would have to be based on the new Unreal Engine, right?
Yeah, I think it's been stated several times that they are using Unreal 5
Right.
for the dev kit, or not for the dev kit, but for Ark 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I have high hopes.
Me too.
Now, how far they strip that before they give it to the dev kit, before they give us the dev kit, is undetermined.
Yeah, I mean, we still don't know when Ark 2 is releasing, right?
Yeah, no idea.
And I've seen games kind of wait for like a fucking like month before the game launches for the dev kit to drop. So what I'm hoping for is that it'll be super easy for you to bring in like your current assets and your current mods and just like bring them into Ark 2, you know?
And honestly, like, looking at the things that I have seen, like a handful of things, like, obviously nobody has the new dev kit.
Right.
Nobody has anything related to Ark 2. However, I have seen a few modders playing around with the Unreal Engine 5 and exporting Ark things and importing them into Unreal 5, and they look so nice.
Damn. Because I'm
And
sure
that's
that a
just
lot
an
of the
import-export.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm sure a lot of the assets that you already have, you had to downscale, right? So like, you probably could just get them in full resolution, textures or whatever, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, a lot of like the stuff that I have, so nothing in the dev kit or Ark itself will register anything above 2K.
Like 2K per item.
2K material wise, like material sizing, texture sizing. A lot of the stuff that I get comes in 4K, so I have to tone it down. Sometimes it doesn't bother it. Sometimes it bothers it.
Yeah.
It really just depends.
Well, just so that we don't go over time way too much. I think I'm super excited for Arc 2, but my excitement is being measured carefully and managed because we've been burned a lot. And we can already expect delays after delay when it comes to launch, but we all love Arc. We were so excited to, like, playing it, RPing in it. So, like, hopefully Arc 2 will just make our experience that much better. And hopefully you'll keep modding stuff and making cool stuff. I'm still waiting. Here's hoping we don't get the same launch issues as Atlas or as Arc.
Not Atlas.
Or as Arc, because do you remember how awful Arc was when it launched?
I actually think Wolf was telling me stories about the launch of Arc and how god awful it was.
It was awful. Lilith, thank you for subbing. I talked about you several times earlier. I wasn't around for Arc launch. I wasn't playing it, but I was watching a friend of mine stream it, like, when it first came out, and I was like, what is even happening right now? I played it like months later, or maybe even up to almost a year later, when it was a bit more stable. But Lilith, you heard me. You missed me talking about like modding and some of like the nightmares that you faced and stuff like that. But we will discuss that when you're on the show.
Yeah, she's next.
Yeah, because I'm sure that you have your own experiences. But Lady, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you, even though you broke my heart. And tell us where can people find you nowadays? WRP?
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm spending a lot of the time right now. I don't know after that. Now, there is another little RP server that we go and play on that's much at a smaller scale. They allow like text role play and things like that.
Yeah.
So I play there here and there on occasion.
Okay. And for the people that might not know what your mods are in Arc, give them a bit of a summary on what you got.
So I've got the what is it? I don't even know how I've named them anymore.
You're cooking.
So there's the ladies' food and farming, which is a whole redo of the kitchen stuff. Basically, I've put in a bunch of decor. I've put in a ton of icons to make food with. There's plants and what have you. And then I have the LWRP decor, which is just a ton of decor things, just to make things pretty.
Because decor is what makes the world go around in RP.
Yes, decor does make the world go around. To be fair, coming from someone who I'm pretty sure I decorated your room in Winterfell.
You did. Not only did you decorate my room in the keep, you decorated my room in the banner house, well, our room. Yeah, like it would have just stayed like with a big bed if it was up to me.
Like every male that plays on the server, they need a bed and an icebox. That's all they ever need.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
pretty much
else.
it. And like a storage. But hey, to be fair, I decorated my turtle cabin. Which was just like one small room, but like, I've done things before.
Lilith's like, please no.
I've done things. Don't patronize me. Anyway. Thank you for hanging out, Lady. And
You're welcome.
guys, thank you for hanging out with us and listening to a day in the life of a modder and a role player. Lady Werewolf. Soon we'll have other guests on. Like if we can try to get the hopefully, yes, hopefully Nixie will be back and feeling better and all back to her normal self next week. And there'll be more than just my voice to listen to, and the guests. Wow, stupid voice. I know you're talking about your own, but we're hoping to get a couple more modders on the show. Lilith being one of them. She already said that she would, so I just, I'm holding that favor over her. And some more role players, and it's not just gonna be all Ark or Conan. We're gonna try to get a couple of people from like GTA or different. You and I need to chat, sir. Of course, yeah. We do need to chat, and have like a couple of people from different backgrounds. And hopefully even people that I don't know that will get on here and we'll chat and we'll get to know a bit better from different communities. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you next time. Peace. All right, lady. Thank you so much. Like, I have to pee so badly. My microphone's still on. I know. I haven't turned it off. I turned the music off. You can't hear lady. Lady, why are you talking about them like that? No. So guys, just as a reminder, Feeling Grim on Mondays, you can come hang out with me and read a couple of grim stories. They're so weird, and some are a little fucked up, but they're really fun. Mondays at 9 p.m. Feeling Grim. Come and have a drink with me and listen to some stories. And next week on Fridays at 8 p.m. Hopefully Nixie will be back. If she's feeling better. You tuned in to hear M9 has to be. All right. Well, Katra, thanks for tuning in, even though you're late. But it was nice to see you. Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.